All right, today we're going to review and practice the idea of working backwards to a formula. Again, excuse the way I'm talking with a metal device in my mouth. It's a little bit hard to do it today, but we just have to listen and do the best we can. So at the top of the sheet are all the formulas, and you have all the formulas in your notebook. We're missing maybe the area and perimeter of a parallelogram, and nothing too important because most of our work will be circles and the rest is review. But anyhow, here's how we're doing it. So these are the formulas here, and the question is down here. But remember that when we do these questions, we start with the formula and we put in anything that is given to us in our question. So this first question is talking about the perimeter of a square, and that is this one right here. So perimeter of a square equals 4s, 4 times side. And that's your first thing to do. And then it says, well, what do you know? So this part here, what do you know from the question? Well, I know that that perimeter is 70. So the perimeter is 70, and that's when you write it here. Maybe put brackets to show substitution, and you have 70 equals 4s. 4 times side equals 70. Now, when we do this, we know that to isolate for a variable, which is s, we have to get it by itself. And to get it by itself, we have to get rid of that 4. We do it by doing the opposite operation. The 4 is multiplied, so we have to divide it out from both sides. And when we divide it out from both sides, the side is simply equal to 70 divided by 4, and I'm doing it here as well. 17.5, and it says centimeters up here, might as well make it complete. And that's how we do that question. We did one today, but I wanted to make sure we had to do it. I'm going to do a bunch of them. So area of a square, you would go up here and you find the area of a square formula. And area of a square, I always like to write it like this. It takes seconds to do it. In the area equals side squared. And it tells us, because we always start with a formula, right? But it tells us that the answer is 175. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to put side squared. Again, it's always not a terrible idea just to put whatever you substituted into a formula in the bracket so you know that's what happened. Now, in this case, I'm not getting rid of a 4 like we did with perimeter. I have to get rid of this squared sign. And from our earlier work, we know the only way to get s by itself, or to isolate for just s, is to get rid of that squared sign. And the tool on our calculator that helps us do that is the square root. So in this case, and we'll have another example when we do circles, we have to take the square root of that in order to get s. So you simply punch that into your calculator, 175. Take the square root of it, if I can find my square root button, and that's 13.23, because I'm rounding. It was centimeters, and that's what side equals. So this is how you work backwards. You start with the formula, you substitute what you know, and then you just solve for the variable. All right, we'll do a few more examples, and then we'll just keep practicing. So the next one, again, the top of my page always has all our formulas. And then this reminder that we start with the formula and we put in what we know. So that's where we started today. So this one says circumference of a circle is 36 meters. So again, look for circumference of a circle. C of a circle equals pi times the diameter. Then the next step is put in what you know. Says that this the circumference is 36, so I'll put that there. And it equals pi d. Pi is always 3.14 times the diameter. Well, in this case, I have to isolate for, move that down a little bit. I have to isolate for the diameter. I got to get this by itself, and the number 3.14 is being multiplied to it. And that's what happens when a number is right close to a variable. That means multiplication. When we isolate for a variable, we do the opposite operation. So if that's being multiplied, we have to divide it to get rid of it, and we have to divide it from both sides. And we've done enough of this now that you should remember that, hopefully. But this is simply 36 divided by 3.14. I'm doing it at the same time you are. And that equals 11.46 meters. And that's all there is to that one. The next one talks about the area of a circle. And again, you can look at area of a circle. You can find the formula above or on the top of all your pages. So area of a circle is where we start. We always start with formula. Oops. Area, let's change that into a wonderful A. Area of a circle equals pi times radius squared. And the formulas are always a little bit different. You'll never have to memorize them. You just have to copy them down. Anyhow, the next step is putting what you know. And what we know is the area equals 4.5 meters. And you just put that right there. Again, put it in brackets to show you've substituted the number in. And we have this. Now, we talked about this today in class. We actually have two things to do. We have to get rid of the 3.14, and we have to get rid of the squared sign. And when we talked today, we said, you know what? We have to get rid of this 3.1 first. 3.1, when you're multiplying it times r, we have to divide it from both sides to get rid of it. That's how we isolate. So we simply take, this is 1, comes 1, and 4.5 divided by 3.14, we just take it in two places, is 1.43 equals r squared. Now, when we want to know the radius, we don't want to know the radius squared. We have to get rid of this. And just like the last question on the previous page, when we're trying to get rid of squared, we have to take the square root. So in order to get rid of this, we have to take the square root of 1.43. And that will give us what the radius is. So take the square root of that, and that equals 1.2. No, that can't be right. Do 1 sec. Yeah, 1.2. It's not going to be quite right because of all the decimal places, but it's going to be close enough. So if you multiply 1.2 times 1.2, you wouldn't quite get this answer, but that's because we've rounded decimal places, and not to worry about that last piece. So again, start with your formula, put in what you know, isolate. This one was a two-step thing, and some of the other ones have only been one step. I'm going to do one last one, and we are done for today, and we'll just keep practicing. This is our last one, and it says, what are we doing in this one? Area of a rectangle. All right, so you find the area of a rectangle. It's right there, and that's where we're going to start. So area of a rectangle equals length times width. Remember in grade 8, I'm kind of asking that we can start putting two variables beside each other or a number right beside a variable, and that shows multiplication. We don't have to keep writing that multiplication symbol. Anyhow, 45 is the area, so that goes here, but it also gives us the length. So in this case, there's two things to put in. So I have to put in 7.2 there, times W, because length, which is that, times width, will equal 45. And when we are going to figure out and isolate for W, we have to get rid of everything that's on that side. 7.2 is on that side, and it's being multiplied by W. From our work solving equations, we do the opposite. So it was being multiplied, and we simply divide it from both sides to get rid of it. So in this case, the width is simply 45. Let me get there, divided by 7.2, and that equals 6.25, whatever units, it was meters, and that's how we're doing our work. If it's new, don't worry, that's why we practice. Ask lots of questions. Good luck.